Hey everybody, Hawk here with AT&T. So, as you can see, my partner's not here. That's because life kind of bit him in the butt. So, there's a lot been going on, and as soon as he gets freed up, he'll be back over here doing it. Today is Sunday, which means it's vlog day, and I've had some people asking me about some of the coil builds that I do on my particular device, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to knock out a real quick dual coil on a Kraken, and we're going to try to shoot someplace between like a 0.5 and a 0.6 because that's just kind of my vape, and remember, it's all subjective, so whatever your vape is, that's your vape. What I'm going to knock out though is going to be someplace between a 5 and a 6. We'll see when we're done with it. I'm going to talk about a juice that I've been vaping because some people have asked me about that particular juice, and so I'm gonna talk about that juice. It comes from a line, and I'll tell you the line when we get there. And I've really been enjoying it. As a matter of fact, that's what I've got in here, and I'll show you what the juice is. It's a great juice. I've been really enjoying it. Oh, that's just good stuff. And then whatever else comes to my head, and we'll figure it out from there. So first thing up, let's start with a real quick build on a coil, and then we'll go from there. So see you down in the uppy closey part. Okay, and we are back. So we start off with our Kraken. It's the Genesis style atomizer, and any atomizer really. This is going to be a vertical as opposed to a horizontal because you have the center post, which is high, and then the two negative posts on either side, which are low and on the deck. Okay, so that you should be able to see. And then what we'll do, we'll just pull the glass. Now I have it setting on an old 510 connector. I just stripped off of an old Ego style pin that I had, and then I use it just to hold it in. It's just a base piece. I'm just going to thread that right back on here. We'll drop it right there for a second. Now, I'm going to be using 28 gauge Canthal. Let me turn that around so you can see it. I'm going to be using 26 gauge Canthal. I've got my equivalent to a 3/32 drill bit. This is actually a 3/32 piece of piping that I got down at the local hobby shop. I have my ohm meter so that I can hopefully hit my mark. Like I said, I'm going to be aiming someplace between a 0.5 and a 0.6. We're gonna figure it out. Maybe like a 5.1 or a 5.2. So the first thing I like to do is start off with a little wire. We're just going to take this out and try not to let it spring out all over the place. I'm the worst when it comes to that. And I like to actually have enough wire. So there's about, what's that, about 10, maybe 12 inches, 13 inches of wire, maybe a little bit more. But it's because I like to have a lot of wire to hang on to when I get to the part where I'm trying to, all I'm going to do is just fold that over like that. And then we're going to cut it. Just leave a little bit. Let me try to get my hands out of the way. I'm going to cut it and leave a little bit of tail left over. Just kind of pinch that down so it doesn't pop out. And then we're just going to wrap it. So what I like to do is I like to start behind the wire, and it's just so I can get a hold of it. So I'm just going to fold this out a little bit so it quits springing up on us. So I'm just going to put my wire on top of my finger, set the rod on top of that, and then come towards myself. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, now that I have 9, I'm going to give it a little pinch, okay? And then I'm going to grab what's going to be my negative lead with my pliers, and I'm actually going to move that in just a little bit towards the inside of the coil. And that's because I'm not going to fire this coil. I'm going to do that on the actual atomizer, and I'll show you how to do that. This is just a quick throwdown coil, so we're not going to go through all the torching process and stuff like that. Now, I've got 9. I'm actually going to come around the back side, so it looks like I'm going to make 10, but I'm not, because I'm going to fold it over, and I'm going to leave the width of the end of my finger, because I'm going to put it down between this coil and the next coil that I start. And then I'm going to wrap it the opposite direction this time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then just bring the tail. Now, I want the tail to kind of be facing in the opposite direction, so I've got one going up and one coming down. Because what's going to happen is I'm going to pull this rod out. I'm just holding the other end of the coil. I'm going to pull this rod out until only one section's on it, and then I'm going to bend it like that, so that coil's kind of poking out to the side, and I'm going to straighten this up just a little bit with my pliers, and then I'm going to insert the rod on the other side and repeat that. I'm just going to straighten it out like that, so now they sit side to side, because this is going on a Genesis style atomizer. It's a Kraken, and so it's going to have that little cross beam at the top. Okay, so now I actually prepped both of my coils. All right, and this is just a quick throw down coil. This is all it is, just an easy way to throw it down. Okay, now I take my atomizer and I drop that rod through the hole, and then I need to loosen up this negative post just a little bit. Zip. Okay, now you can either take this lead, okay, and flip it around behind the coil. So you can actually like lift it and flip it so that it's between the coil and the post. The problem with doing that is if you don't make sure that you get your wire off of your center post when you fire it, you're going to short out your coil. So for people that are just starting off, what I recommend you do is what I did. Just take it, grab the end so you can get it nice and snug, okay? And give it a little, we're just going to hold it for the moment, okay? Actually, you know what? Let's wait on that, because I'm gonna want to spin that. So let me do this instead. Okay. Before I do that, let me reach over here. Now remember, I left this bridge. Okay. So before I get all crazy with my tail, I'm gonna take my other rod. It's the same size, little 3/32. Okay. I actually bought it in one large piece and then cut it in half. Okay. So now all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna push this. Let me show you this before I do that. There's 2 washers, okay? Oops, here we go. There's 2 washers. Oh, that's horrible focus. Will that focus? There we go. So there's 2 washers at the top of that post. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to push that bridge that I've got on these 2 wires. Okay, so here's my coil. Let me put the other post in there so you can see it. Okay, so you see that bridge right there? I'm going to push that between those 2 washers. All right, so I set the first one down. Okay, and then I'm just going to take this. I need to adjust my focus again. So let me put that back so we can see what we're doing. There we go. Okay, so I'm just going to take this and I'm going to put that one in. I'm going to take this rod out of the way for a second so that I can actually use my fingers to do that. So we're going to put that in there, and then we're going to push that between those 2 washers and then tighten the center one down. So before I ever start dealing with my negative posts, all right, I want to get my positive posts in line. There we go. I'll just kind of push that into place. Now, once that's in place, get all my junk out of the way, I'm going to take that second rod and I'm going to insert it back through that coil, and then I'm going to bend it gently around so that it seats in that hole. Okay? So now I've got my negative lead on each side, just waiting to go under this little post. So we're going to reach over here. We're going to lift up the negative. I'm going to drag that one under, and I'm going to twist it all the way over so I can get a hold of it with my other hand, and then I'm going to cinch it back down again. So there's one, and we'll just bend it up and out of the way, okay? Now this one, we're just going to take it and bend it around And because it is a little shorter, what I'm going to do is I'm going to push that behind it, just like that, so it drops into place. And then I'll push it with my thumb back around. So now, tighten that one down, like that, and then we'll just kind of bend it up. Now, remember, we didn't torch that, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to cut the leads away so that we can, well, let me tighten this one up just a little bit. Before I go cutting that lead away, let me, you know what? Let me send it this way around. Okay, I know I said don't do that because it puts it close to it, but I've done it enough times. I know that it's not touching. And I'll show you in a minute. I'll check it just to make sure. So we're just going to cut that, cut it away. And then we're going to cut the negative on that side and cut it away. And then we'll just sweep that out of the way. Okay. So there we have it. Both of these are setting there. Now, before we snatch out the actual rods, what I want to do is go to the bottom of this, find the very bottom coil, and lift the whole thing up, because we're actually going to torch this on the atomizer, and we're going to use the heat from the coil itself to do that. So when we're done, we're not going to have a hugely sloppy coil. It's not going to look as good as it would if we'd built it and then torched it, but this is a lot easier to build than trying to do, trying to torch it and then make sure it's all nice and tight and then make sure your bridge will fit and blah, blah, blah. Because this is basically a sleeper coil standing up, okay? So it's the same thing as if you had built a horizontal coil and built a sleeper coil horizontally, because this is all one piece. That coil is one solid piece, okay? So now, before we torch it, we're going to get our rods out of the way, and then we're going to check it on our ohm meter to make sure that we're between that 5 and 6. And if I did that right, I should be pushing someplace between 5.1 and 5.5. So let's find out. We're just going to screw that into our meter like that. Snug it, everything's finger tight. Turn it on. 5.7. Ta-da! Good on us. All right. So now let's take this and start cleaning it up. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our mod, and then we're going to put the add on top, like that. And then we'll drop our 18650 in it. Seat for connection. There we go. And check the coil. Okay, we've got something going on here. There it goes. Okay, so now we're going to pinch this. So what I want to do, I told you we're going to fire this on the actual atomizer. So what we're going to do is we're going to heat the coil, just kind of pump it till it starts to heat, okay? And then once it's nice and red like that, never grab it while you're firing it, okay? Once it's nice and red like that, let go of the fire button and then give it a squeeze, okay? Because we want to pinch it together, and then just hold it for a minute. It doesn't take too long, but just hold it for a couple, okay? And then we'll take and do the other side, the same thing. We'll just kind of pump it, pump it, pump it. There it goes. And then let go of the fire button and pinch it. Okay, and then fire. Nice, and then pinch it. Okay, so what we want to see is we want to see it glowing from the inside out. Okay, so fire it, there it goes, and then pinch it. There we go. So now we're just pinching the coil up, okay? So once we get it like that, you're going to see it starting to fire from the inside out, and we want both of these to fire at the same time. So we want them both to come up. There we go. You want them both to come up at the same time. Look at that. Okay, now we're going to check all our screws to make sure we're tight. Like that. Give it a little cinch. give it a little cinch. Oh, my bad, I took it out of the frame. Okay, give it a little cinch. So I just tighten up, make sure everybody's nice and tight. And then we fire it to make sure that it's firing. And both coils fire at the same time, just like that. Heat it up from the inside out, so you can see it's glowing from the inside out, and that's what we want. And then all we got to do is wick it and throw some juice in it, and we are good to go. All right? Oh, my bad, took it off screen. Okay, and we're good to go. So we're going to do that, and then I'll meet you back up at the up top, and we'll talk about it. Okay, and here we are back up top. So that's a quick and easy dual coil on a Kraken 0.57, a little bit of cotton, bam, you're good to go. Not that difficult. 26 gauge, 9 wraps a shot, make it all day long. Which brings me to, there you go, guys. So for those guys that were asking me, hopefully you're watching this video, Matt, Robert. First off, let me give you a shout out. Good job for vaping. Good job for getting away from big tobacco. Okay? Everything you can do that keeps you from smoking another cigarette, that's you not smoking. So, good job. There's coil build. Rest of you guys that are watching this, if you have any questions or whatnot, post them down in the comment section. Leave me a comment if you don't like the way that it came out for some reason. You know, that's the first uppy closey I think that we've actually done where we've put something down on the deck, but I couldn't figure a way to do it sitting up here. So I know I said I don't do uppy closies, but I guess there are exceptions for that. So there you go. Juice. So the next question that has been coming down the line is, what's the juice that Hawk's vaping? Because well, it smells good. And I pass it around because I like people to taste it, because I'm a firm believer in, can I taste your juice? It's one of the reasons I like vaping, because you can snatch the top off of your ad, let them put the top on there from theirs on it, and hit it all day long. Remember to practice safe vaping. Nobody wants to be, sticking something in their mouth, so pull your tip. Okay. So what's the juice Hawk's vaping? Alright, first, this is not a juice review. All of this is my own opinion. It has no bearing in reality whatsoever. It's just me vaping. I enjoy the vaping, and so I enjoy sharing. So it's from the same guys that make Suicide Bunny. It's called Claim Your Throne. Let me put that up so you can get a little look at it. There you go. It's called Claim Your Throne. It's by the same guys that make Suicide Bunny, out of which their OB is my favorite. I love their OB out of their Suicide Bunny line. So they've got 2 lines, the Suicide Bunny line and the King or Crown line or whatever they call it. If you Google them, they'll pull it up, and then you'll be like, oh, that's them. Just go look them up. The Claim Your Throne, it's great. It's got a lot of complex flavors behind it. It's kind of creamy. It's kind of cinnamony. It's kind of custardy. It's kind of really complex, and that's what I like in an artisan juice. Which brings me to, it's vlog time, and so I'm gonna talk some smack. But I'm mostly gonna talk some smack for myself, because I haven't really heard this before. And it's just my way of thinking, and I've heard a couple of people call it this, and so now I'm going to share with you, and I'm going to share why I think it's this way. So I break down my juices by who makes them, and not like the maker themselves, but like how they're made. I consider store juice to be any kind of juice you walk into a store and buy, and doesn't have time to steep, so you really don't get to appreciate the flavor profile of it. Because a lot of times when you walk into a store and you pick up a store juice, it's the one they mix right there, they drop it in the container, they give it a little shake, and they hand it to you, and you walk out and you normally put it in your tank and start vaping. And I've watched, I don't know how many hundreds of people to do that. And if you're into store juice, hey, rock on. If that's your thing, then that's your thing. Nobody's here to judge anybody. I don't like store juices because I don't like to wait that long for my juice to steep. I want my juice to be steeping when I order it, so when it gets to me, I can vape it. The store juices just don't have time to really develop their flavor profile. Premium juices. These are juices that somebody's made that are basic in flavor, but have had time to steep. So when you start vaping it, the flavor profile is what it's supposed to be. So if you're vaping like like a bubble gum, it tastes like a bubble gum, or a watermelon, it tastes like a watermelon, or a kiwi, it tastes like a kiwi, or spearmint, or whatever that basic flavor is that you're vaping, and it tastes like that. I consider that to be a premium juice. And then we have artisan juices. And artisan juices are those juices that I feel the makers have really spent a lot of time on. The flavor profile for them is very complex. It has a lot of nuances to it, and really, it's not even appreciated until you get down into a sub-ohm where you're really tasting that juice. And that's why I like the guys that make Suicide Bunny, and I like those particular juices out of their line. All of their juices are good. I've vaped their entire line for both of them, and I enjoyed them. But I have a favorite out of each line. And so, whereas all of them are good, some of them I don't really appreciate as much as others. And then my favorite, of course, is the OB, because the original Bunny is just smack on. And then, of course, Claim Your Throne. And that's because of the custard nodes in it and the little bit of spice in the background. It has a hint of spice when you breathe out. It's got a little sweet. There's almost like a vanilla in there someplace. And so there's a lot of nuances that go into their juice. And so I appreciate that. So that's Hawk's take on store juice, premium juice, and artisan juice. All right. If you don't agree with me, that's fine. It's all subjective. Do your thing. If you do, that's great too. And now you know my take on it. So that takes care of like what's Hawk been vaping and what's a throwdown coil. That's my basic throwdown coil. That's it right there. No firing necessary. Just heat it on the coil. Heat it on the atomizer. Pinch it together. Remember, if you've got metal tweezers, don't pinch it while you're firing it because you'll short the coil. It's not good. Okay. Fire it till it gets hot, then pinch it and let it cool down while you're holding it, okay? Then take your tweezers off. Never fire it while you're grabbing with something metal. Bad idea. Don't do it. Okay? Which takes us off to, weird little things that Hawk has heard. Because, well, it's a vlog. So, hey, for you guys that didn't know, it's a vlog. So I'm just going to go ranting off on some stuff. I'm just going to ramble about junk now because I can, because it's my video, and my partner's not here to reel me in. That's how it happens, right? That's why he comes so he can reel me back in. Squirrel. So I've been flipping through the news, and this isn't actually new. This is something that I found months ago, and I just haven't gotten time to sit down and address it. And so now I'm gonna, because I really don't understand it. I'm not an attorney. I don't play one on TV, and I don't understand some of the complex issues behind the way that certain laws are passed and the way that certain things have to be done when it comes to those laws. But this is something I found, and I don't know why people aren't talking about it. So it turns out that Johnson & Johnson's, these are the guys that make the Nicorette stuff, which is all smoking cessation stuff, have an inhaler. You atomize nicotine. Guess what's in it? Polyglycol, vegetable glycerin, flavoring, nicotine, and 9 other chemicals. Now, I don't know about you, but they just took the same thing that we've been vaping, right? Turned it into something you inhale and put 9 more chemicals in it and got it past the FDA like that. How is that possible? How is it that we here in the vaping community are in a rush, running around trying to figure out how we're going to keep our stuff from getting run through the roof and having to pay an arm and a leg and potentially risking the lives of people who may not go into vaping and may stay with traditional tobacco because they don't want to put forward the money at the front end of this, because it's going to get expensive, because the FDA is going to regulate the shit out of this stuff, and the only people that are going to be able to afford to pay for those permits to make this stuff are big tobacco. Because I don't know if anyone's paying any attention, and I'm not opposed to regulation. I said this in the last video. As a matter of fact, me and my partner were standing around. We're not opposed to regulation, okay? Let's be reasonable. But when it comes to spending hundreds of thousands of dollars, the only people that can afford to do that are companies that got hundreds of thousands of dollars to throw at this stuff, right? So how is it that we in the vaping community don't have somebody, I don't know who, one of these juice manufacturers that hasn't looked at an attorney and said, why can Johnson & Johnson's get this inhaler passed like that? I mean, it wasn't even it like bam, it was done, okay? And it has the same thing that we're vaping in it, plus 9 other chemicals, and we're running in a circle trying to figure out how we're going to get this passed. I don't understand that. So if you understand it, leave me a comment. If you don't understand it, go look that stuff up and then start sending your juice manufacturers some questions. Hey, how come they can do this? And why aren't we doing the same thing? If they've already done the footwork on the front end of it, again, I'm not somebody that studies the law, but if they did the footwork and we're manufacturing the same thing, and the FDA said, if you can show that it's the same thing as something that's currently on the market, here you go, then why aren't we doing that? Why don't we have that in our pocket already? Why are we even sweating this? Because obviously it's okay with the FDA for us to inhale this stuff, and I know they're screaming and bitching and running in a little circle because they're like, well, you don't know, that could cause you to go a third arm. Well, it could, but the FDA said don't sweat it because they already gave permission for Johnson & Johnson's to do it. They've got an inhaler. That's what it is. You breathe in and you inhale it. And the funny part is, it's not even vaporized. It's a mist. It's a mist you inhale into your lungs. So it's heavier than this. So how are we running in a circle? I don't understand that. Somebody help me out. Get with somebody. Ask them. I'm going to ask somebody. I'm going to be asking a lot of people. I don't understand how that's possible. I've been asking people. Ask some more people. Leave me a comment. Let me know. I don't know. But that was my interesting piece of, I wonder if anybody's noticed that or not. I don't know. What else we got going on? October in Houston, there's going to be a vaping convention. I told you, when my partner gets here, we'll talk about the one in San Antonio. We went to it, had a great time, and we'll talk about it when he gets back, because I don't want to blow his thunder out from under him, because it was a good convention. I don't know that it was so much a convention for the general public. I mean, it was really more like vendors showing their wares and people that are purchasing those wares to try to get them in the shops and stuff. Not that if you were a member of the public and you went, you didn't walk away with some really good information and some really good equipment and stuff, because they had some great juice vendors out there. A couple of the artisan vendors that I really, good stuff. We'll talk about that later. So we have another one coming up in October here in Houston. So if you're in the Houston area and you're looking for a convention to go to, there's another one coming in Houston. I don't have the dates for it, but you can Google vaping conventions off in Houston. Am I allowed to say that? I guess I'll find out. I don't know if I can say that or not, because I'm on YouTube. So I guess if they shut that down and don't let me say it, I'll know, or I'll get a nasty gram or something. I'm like, you can't say that. So look it up, just in case I'm not allowed to say that. And if I'm not allowed to say that, leave me a comment and let me know. So that's my take. This is going to be a short entry today, and I know that's relative. That's not like a short entry like 3 minutes ago, but a short versus what all is going on in the world. Because, well, quite honestly, a lot of it's been hashed and rehashed, and I don't see the need to do it again. So just rock forward with yourself. Do your thing, all right? So this is Hawk coming at you from H&T. Peace on you. Remember, vaping is going to kill big tobacco. I promise you. It's going to happen. We're just going to have to struggle for it a little bit, but it's going to happen. So subscribe to the channel. Leave me a comment if you've got one. If you want to know some more information, or if you want me to do a different build or something, let me know that. And then, next time maybe I'll do like a nice twisted 2628 because I like the flavor profile that it gives off. So, hog at you. Peace on you.